What if I told you that Leica just shattered the one rule they swore they would never break? For decades, the M series has been the purest form of mechanical photography, untouched by the digital chaos that has consumed every other camera brand. But right now, buried in leaked documents and whispered conversations between dealers, there is a surprise update coming to the Leica M12 that is going to change everything you thought you knew about rangefinder photography. And here is the strangest part. Almost nobody is talking about it. Before I reveal what that is, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I break down the latest camera leaks, top 10 camera rankings, and detailed comparisons every week. You do not want to miss what is coming next in the camera world, especially when updates like this one slip through the cracks while everyone else is distracted. Now, back to what makes the M12 so controversial. For over 70 years, Leica rangefinders have been about optical purity, about the connection between glass and film, about trusting your hands and your eyes without electronic interference. But the leaks coming out of Germany suggest that Leica is about to introduce a feature so unexpected that some purists are already calling it a betrayal, while others are quietly celebrating the future they have been waiting for. Let me paint you a picture. You are walking through the streets of Tokyo at dusk, light fading fast, and you spot a moment unfolding in front of you. The kind of moment that disappears in a heartbeat. You raise your Leica M11, frame the shot, but your shutter speed drops to 1/15 of a second to capture the ambient light. You hold your breath, brace yourself against a wall, and press the shutter, hoping everything aligns perfectly in that single moment. But when you check the back of the camera, the image is blurry, and that split second of magic is gone forever, because handheld stability at slow shutter speeds has always been the weakness of rangefinder photography. Now imagine if that problem simply vanished. Imagine if your Leica could compensate for your hand movement, giving you razor-sharp images at speeds you never thought possible, turning those missed moments into keepers every single time. The biggest revelation in these leaks is not the 60-megapixel sensor or the improved dynamic range. It is the whispered inclusion of in-body image stabilization, known as IBIS, inside the M12. Yes, you heard that correctly. IBIS in a Leica M series rangefinder. For context, Leica has spent decades resisting this technology, arguing that it interferes with the optical path and betrays the philosophy of pure, unaided photography. But according to sources close to Leica's internal testing labs, the company has been quietly experimenting with a 5-axis IBIS system that could provide up to 5 stops of stabilization. 5 stops means handheld shots at shutter speeds that would have been impossible just a few years ago. Street photographers working in low light, documentary shooters capturing fleeting moments, wedding photographers balancing natural light with motion, all of them could benefit from this single feature. But here is where it gets complicated. Does adding IBIS turn the Leica M into just another digital camera? Or does it finally bring the rangefinder into the modern era without losing its soul? This is the question dividing the photography community right now. Some see it as progress, others see it as compromise. And honestly, both sides have valid points that deserve serious consideration. The leaks also suggest something even more radical: a hybrid viewfinder system that blends the classic optical rangefinder experience with an electronic overlay. Think of it as the best of both worlds. You still get that bright, clear optical window that Leica shooters have loved for generations, but now you can toggle on a digital display that shows you exposure information, focus peaking, and even live histograms right inside the viewfinder. This is not the first time Leica has experimented with this concept. The Leica M teased a similar idea years ago, but it was clunky, unrefined, and ultimately never made it into full production. The M12, however, is rumored to have perfected this technology with seamless switching between optical purity and digital assistance. No more guessing your exposure in tricky lighting situations, and no more hoping your manual focus nailed the shot when it actually mattered most. Now let me tell you about the body itself, because this is where things get even more interesting. The leaked specifications suggest that Leica is shrinking the M12 by 10 to 15% compared to the M11. That might not sound like much on paper, but when you are carrying a rangefinder all day, when it is hanging around your neck for hours during a wedding or a street photography session, Every gram matters. Leica has always been about portability, about cameras that disappear into your workflow. If these leaks are accurate, the M12 could become the most travel-friendly full-frame rangefinder Leica has ever made. Imagine slipping it into a jacket pocket, tossing it into a small camera bag without the bulk that usually comes with luxury gear. But here is the question. Will a smaller body compromise the ergonomics that made the M series so comfortable to shoot with? The sensor upgrades are equally impressive. The M12 is expected to feature the same 60-megapixel full-frame CMOS sensor as the M11, but with significant improvements in dynamic range and noise reduction. We are talking about high ISO performance that could reach up to 100,000 ISO while maintaining usable image quality. For photographers who work in extreme low-light conditions, this is a genuine advancement. Concerts, dimly lit interiors, late-night street scenes. All of these scenarios become far more manageable when your camera can see in near darkness. And thanks to a new triple-layer noise reduction filter, the M12 could produce cleaner files at high ISOs than any previous M-series camera. But here is what nobody is discussing. How will this sensor perform with older Leica M mount lenses? Will the increased resolution expose flaws in vintage glass? Or will it bring out details that photographers never knew were there? Then there is the video capability, which feels almost unexpected to mention in a Leica rangefinder discussion. The leaks suggest that the M12 will be Leica's first M-series camera, capable of shooting 8K video. This is not a feature that most Leica shooters asked for, and it feels like Leica is trying to appeal to a younger generation of hybrid shooters who want one camera that can do everything. Does adding 8K video dilute the Leica M experience? Or does it simply make the camera more versatile without compromising its primary purpose as a stills machine? I am honestly not sure, and I suspect Leica is carefully weighing this decision. But the fact that they are experimenting with this tells you everything about where the industry is headed and what modern photographers are demanding from their tools. Now we need to talk about pricing, because this matters to every photographer considering this camera. The Leica M12 is rumored to launch at around $10,000 for the body only. That is a $1,000 increase over the M11's original launch price, and while that might seem steep, it actually positions the M12 as a relatively measured upgrade. Considering the features we are discussing, IBIS alone represents thousands of dollars in research and development. The hybrid viewfinder system is not cheap to engineer, and if Leica is truly shrinking the body while adding weather sealing and a larger battery that is rated for over 500 shots per charge, then you are getting substantial technology packed into a compact package. At nearly $10,000, the M12 remains inaccessible to most photographers. It exists in that space where it must justify itself not just as a tool, but as an investment in your craft. There is one more detail that has traditionalists particularly concerned. Early whispers suggest that Leica might skip releasing a monochrome variant of the M12 at launch. For those unfamiliar, Leica has traditionally released black and white only versions of their M-series cameras, stripping out the color filter array to produce stunningly detailed monochrome images. It is a niche product, but it has a devoted following among fine art and documentary photographers. The fact that Leica might prioritize color sensor upgrades over a monochrome edition is a clear signal. They are chasing a broader audience, trying to appeal to photographers who want versatility over specialization. And from a business perspective, this makes sense, but it also represents a shift away from the purist philosophy that made the M-series special for a very specific type of photographer who values artistic constraint. So when can you actually get your hands on the M12? The rumored announcement window is late. Q4 of 2025, possibly November or December, with initial shipments hitting Europe and Asia by February of 2026. The United States might see delays due to trademark issues, which is frustrating but not surprising, given how complicated international camera launches have become. Full global availability is expected by mid-2026, which means you still have time to prepare. Here is what this all means. The Leica M12 is shaping up to be the most transformative rangefinder Leica has ever produced. It is a camera that questions assumptions, that challenges decades of design philosophy, that forces us to reconsider what a Leica rangefinder should be in 2026. Whether you embrace these changes or resist them, this camera will define the conversation around rangefinder photography for years to come. If you want to see how the M12 stacks up against other rumored cameras coming this year, check out my top 10 rumored cameras video on the end screen. You will discover what else is on the horizon and how these releases might reshape your buying decisions for the year ahead.